Welcome back to the latest edition of Wildly Inconsistent and Unreliable Garage. So, before I really get into what I'm going to do today, obviously I kind of want to address the insanely long period of time between this video and my last video. I have been working on the car, I have been shooting footage, I have not been editing it, and I'll catch you up kind of slowly as we move forward here. I'm not losing steam. Honestly, there's been a lot going on, obviously, as everyone knows, in the world, and well, you know, I don't want to start a pity party here. That's not how I'm looking at my situation right now. I'm still feeling incredibly blessed, but I've got some pretty good reasons for why I've been a little bit slow here. But I'm putting my head down and I'm moving through them, and that's it. So just, yeah, life gets you down sometimes, and honestly, it's just been, every time I'm like feeling like I'm about to dig myself out, I get another bucket thrown on top of me. But like I said, not a pity party. That is neither here nor there, but that's why there's been this long break. Kind of come up on some hardship, but we persevere, move forward, and we keep building race cars. And that's, at the end of the day, what's most important to me. So let's get right into it. I'm doing something really cool today. I got some really neat, super cool vintage trick parts. They came with the car. I kind of just glossed over them there in the beginning of this whole deal, but I'm going to give you a good close look at what it is. I've just spent a lot of time bead blasting everything. I finally got down to some, there's still some metal left. It's a little bit pitted, a little bit ugly, but we're going to see if I can make it work. Let me show you what it is. What I have in here is a very cool, very original Greenwood 5-link. I've been doing a crazy amount of research on it, seeing if I can get a reliable diagram on how to set this thing up. I haven't found the right one yet, but I got a good idea how it's supposed to go, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm waiting on a couple things yet, but I can at least get started. I can start undressing those trailing arms. And what this is gonna do is completely eliminate trailing arms. I'm going to have a 5-link, so I'll have 2 bars going forward where the trailing arms would have gone, 2 going to the camber adjuster plate, and then the 5th link is a half shaft. So the way this is going to go, that is under the diff. That's going to get bolted under the diff. Out here is where we're going to have our wheel. Okay. You get 2 bars going out this way, and we got 2 bars going forward. There we go. Let's see a little better there. And we got a bunch of Hymens. Boom, 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 boom. Doop, doop. Doop-de-doo. This is a super important piece. This is actually going to go, this takes the stock bolt for the stock trailing arm, and then the two of our 4 links will bolt into these 2. I got to make a tab, I got to make a bracket for the bottom that's going to get welded right onto the frame. But that's going to be up there. And then this obviously holds our wheel bearings and our spindle. That's going to be on there. There we go. So that's one side of it, general. I've been doing a crazy amount of research on this. It's kind of tough to find information about, but I either have a Gullstrand 5-link or a Greenwood 5-link. I couldn't find any writing on any of the parts. But what this is going to do, like I said, cut a ton of weight, and it's going to make this, you'll be able to dial the suspension in a lot more. This stuff came out when they started letting Corvettes into Trans Am. They were coming up against a lot of Porsches, and they just were not, the Corvette, the independent rear in the Corvette was just not competitive. It would never stay in true. The alignments would just be all over the map no matter where you set them. And this takes a lot of play out of the rear, and it really puts the rear end on rails. And it's just a much better, lighter, faster, quicker, just engineered setup. So I'm super lucky to have it. Like I said, I think it's pretty rare, and I'm stoked to try to use it. So what I'm gonna start doing here, I'm gonna take apart what I have in the car already, take those rear trailing arms out, get everything blown apart, try to get the spindles out, and that's what I forgot. Anyway, I'll get as far as I can. Yeah, I gotta get the spindle out of the hub assembly and see if these bearings are good, and then get this center thing off, and hopefully I'll be able to use that. So let's do it. Couple very cool things about taking that apart. First of all, in a stock setup, the rear wheel bearings and the rear spindles are press fit, which means you have to have a tool that threads over the inside of the spindle that you can hit with a hammer to get the bearings off. What's been done to this is it's taking a different kind of bearing, and either the spindle has had a couple thou taken off of it, so it sets up like a front wheel bearing, or it's the bearing itself. That weird bearing that's in there itself. So that is awesome. That's super trick, super cool. The other cool thing is that this has a grease fitting on it, which is very, very nice. That means I can grease these wheel bearings without taking anything apart. So I'm super happy with the way this one came apart. I'm gonna get the other side apart now and do the same thing. And then I'm gonna start tapping and cleaning up the threads, getting some paint on that whole 5-link setup that I have, and we'll just keep moving on. The other cool thing is this is a custom setup here. This is to take Willwood super light brakes in the rear. I got them. So I'm super stoked so far. I'm just gonna keep on hammering through here. So I'm going to start sorting all this stuff into right hand and left hand thread and running the tap through everything and getting everything lubed up and freed up. Oh, this is going to take a long time. So the only thing I don't have, I'm waiting for delivery on, is a left-hand 5/8 18 tap.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Okay. Anyway, what I do have is a bunch of extra left-hand thread hymens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tap out of one of those so I can run them through these rods. So all I did was cut a couple grooves in this so that any dirt or anything trapped in the threads has a channel to go through to get off the thread. So I'm going to use this now to clean up all those rods, all the left-hand thread part of those rods. Okay, let's see how far I got. I was in here tapping and dying until late last night, and I got everything cleaned up. All the threads are all nice and free. All screw stuff in with your fingers. So here it is. So this is kind of a mixture. That's backwards. That needs to go the other way. I know that. I'm waiting on some nuts. You can see I need some nuts there, and I need left-hand thread jam nuts for the rods themselves. But this is going to be the overall setup here. That'll be like, well, it's going to stand up like that, and then obviously the same on the other side. Those are going to go forward into the frame. Stock bolt. Oh, I have these backwards. These are backwards. So this is then going to end up out here. The stock bolt is going to go in there. And then this will get welded to the frame. And this will just be inside the box where the old trailing arm went. So yeah, these are backwards. Those are going to go the other way. Anyhow, that's it. And what we have here is kind of a mixture of, okay. So from what I found out in my research, I'm pretty sure this is the Greenwood. These bars are from the Greenwood, but then I have this other second set of bars, and that's from the Gullstrand setup. The Gullstrand setup takes a different one of these. It's like much better looking, but these are aluminum. These are steel. So what I did here was I kind of mixed and matched because I'm one bar short on these. I only have 7, and I need 8. So I'm going to use the steel ones going forward as the trailing arms, to replace trailing arms. And then I'm going to use the aluminum Gullstrand ones here for the camber adjustment. And that's about where I'm at. So in here, obviously, I still have to put in my wheel bearing setups. But these are apart, and they're nice and free. They look great. I was super thrilled with the way that that all came apart. And then I have to just put in these studs that are going to go in those, 4 each, and they'll end up sticking through here this way, and then nuts on the bottom. So that's it for that, and I'm going to start fitting it on the frame.